Hi, my name is Corey Minter. I'm president of Trinity Employment Specialists. Trinity, we are a staffing company who works in both the Tulsa and the Oklahoma City areas, and we staff primarily in the medical field. We have a complete division that staffs in the medical field, and another that works primarily in finance and accounting, some administrative type positions, some customer service type positions, and it's what we've done for almost 10 years now. And we've won a lot of awards with the way that we do staffing. So I want to share with you real quickly some of the processes that we try to put in place for some of our customers, and the hiring process that we think will work really well for you. And this is just a couple of really highlighted points. We're not going to go really deep into it just for time's sake. I want to try to keep this in enough time to where you can watch it and it be very quickly. But first thing is that hiring someone and hiring the wrong person can be so incredibly expensive. And there are lots of articles that are written about it, and you can go anywhere and read about the cost of a mishire. But not a lot of people do that. There are articles written about it, but it's kind of in the back of our minds and we don't realize it. Especially managers who most office managers, their toughest job duty is just dealing with employees, especially dealing with the negative behavior or the negative habits of employees that you want to change. And a lot of the ways that people deal, some good managers deal with this is sometimes they avoid it. They're great managers, but they're really poor at calling things out. And somebody told me a long time ago is when you do not address bad behavior that you do not want, you basically celebrate it. And so that good manager is only half as good as they can be, and it's all because they're not dealing with things that they need to be dealing with. But it can be so expensive, like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that can happen very quickly. In fact, Walmart says that if they hire someone at $10 an hour and they work for 3 months and they quit, Walmart considers that an $11,000 loss in time spent in them, training, development, salaries paid, taxes, all of that stuff that you've paid into that employee is roughly around $11,000. So it's really important to have some kind of a process. So I want to talk to you about that real quick. The first thing is when you're hiring someone, you need to recruit the best. And I'm really trying to talk about recruiting only A players, like bringing in the best into your team, not just subpar, but trying to find the best. One of the things you have to do is you have to sell them on the position. And one of the best ways of doing that is casting a vision for the company, their role in the company, and what it is that they will be doing and what's expected of them. A lot of managers will just hire the position and then kind of make it up as they go. And A players are not going to stick around for that. You may miss a lot of A players that you interview and realize that they're not interested any longer. A big part of it is if you want to find success, you need to cast a vision. You've got to let this person know what it is that's going to be expected of them, what the future looks like for the company, what the possibilities are, and what their role is in it, and how can they benefit from it. And so before you interview with someone, you need to be able to have this vision in your head and know how to communicate it to them. Because the biggest thing that you want to do is get them wanting your job. And you may in doing this, I want to warn you, you may get people you don't want to want that job and you don't want in that position, wanting that position. So you might get a lot of phone calls if you do a good job of casting a vision. But for that right person, casting a vision and letting them know about it is really, really important. Now, so it's really great to cast a vision, have a clear, planned out career path for them in your company. But the next thing is if you're going to say it, you need to have a real pathway yourself to implementing that vision that you talked about. An A player will realize very quickly, possibly within the first year. A lot of times it'll take about a year for them to recognize if you're not going to implement your part of what you had described to them in the vision. And an A player will pick up on this really quickly, and what's worse than having turnover is losing one of your A players. So this is a big key of not just getting the A player, but you need to keep the A player by being able to implement your vision and your process that you had talked to them about their career path. The second thing is when you're interviewing and you have somebody come in, make sure that you have a list of prepared questions for each individual and that those questions are the exact same. Keep in mind, I'm trying to give you a process here. I was horrible in statistics. So in any other circumstance, please do not take my advice for statistics, because I'm not going to be the guy that you're going to want to hear. But I do remember this in statistics, is that if you are going to sample different criteria, make sure that you measure them using the same measuring tools. And I may have gone over into a weird statistical land with that language, but basically ask the same questions of each candidate so you can measure them the same way. What happens is, in a lot of interviews, is managers will come in, their day was just swamped, and they had no time to prepare for this really, really important interview. We're talking about the person you're going to be working with alongside possibly for the next 10 years. It's important for you to take time to invest in this. But they're so busy they don't take time, and what happens is they look over their resume, they ask some questions that come to their mind right then and there, and then they try to figure out their work history and ask a little bit around. But what happens is small talk takes over, and many people end up hiring people that they like based on small talk. And so I always hear this from managers, like, I interviewed this person and I literally have no idea what happened after the first week, because that really, really nice, aggressive and assertive individual turned into something completely different. And it's because they were a decent salesperson. The interviewer did not ask specific questions to learn their knowledge of the field, and they hired someone that they had good small talk with. Well, I have small talk all the time with people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I would work well with them. And so it's really important to make sure that you're very specific in your questions, and you ask each person the same set of questions, and these questions are really well thought out. I promise you this is a good strategy for you. The last thing is look at your top performers and really analyze what it is that they've done in their past. What kind of personality do they have? What kind of background did they have? What about their background did they think helped them in that position? Really interview them and get to know your top performers. That way you can start using some of those criteria to look for and eliminate people who are coming into your company. Because keep in mind, what you're trying to do is you're trying to duplicate A players over and over and over again. You only want to hire the best. Small and medium-sized business cannot afford B and C level employees. And so following this process and adhering to it very strictly will make a big difference in your hiring decisions. I hope that this helps some of our managers out here, because this is really good advice. Make sure you have a system for your hiring processes, and make sure that you're not making a decision based on how well you had small talk with somebody. Hope that helps you. Thanks so much. All right. Got 2 down.
2 down.
Trying to figure out what else to talk about.